Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Due to some technical problem, we had to shift the link. Thank you for joining in. म तपाईँहरूलाई अब रेजिस्ट्रेसनको लागि लिङ्क सेयर गर्दैछु प्लिज तपाईँहरूले आफूलाई लर्निङ सर्कलमा गएर आफूलाई रेजिस्टर गर्नुहोस् आइ एम सेयरिङ द ट्रेनिङ कोड्स हियर JNUMT. हेलो सर हजुर लिङ्क भर्खर सेयर गरेको छ प्लिज लिङ्क भर्खर सेयर गरेको छु हेर्नुहोस् न प्लिज यस यस Good morning, teachers. Please आफूलाई enroll गर्नुहोस् on learning circle. If there is any concern, please put your concerns on the chat. I am seeing it. 11:30 मा क्लोज हुन्छ यो तपाईहरुले प्लिज रिमेम्बर दैट यू हैव टू गिव योर लोकेशन टु द लर्निङ सर्कल यू हैव टू गिव एक्सेस अनि तपाईहरुले एक्स्ट्रा स्पेस नलाउनुहोस् ट्रेनिङ कोड लाउँदा अगाडि पिछाडी एन्ड यू विल बी एबल टु रेजिस्टर If there is any concern, please let me know. You have to your registration close हुन्छ at 11:30 am. तपाईँहरूले अगाडि पछाडि एउटै पनि स्पेसहरू नराखिकन लाउनुहोस्. सेम टु सेम you have to copy. If there is any concern, put it in the chat. I'll help you with that. Am I not audible? Uh, I am able to see that there is unable to register. Why? Oh. Hello, am I audible? Oh, not here. Sorry, I have to go here. तपाईँहरूले मलाई सुन्नु भएको छैन? Registration is done. Okay, thank you. Okay, looks like I am audible. तपाईँहरूकोपट्टि इन्टरनेट हुनु भएको छैन भने अहिले अहिले 11 भएन किनभने भोटै आएन सर त्यही भएर हामीले 11 मा राख्यौँ हुन्छ तपाईँहरूलाई क्युआर कोड फेरि चाहिँदैन तपाईँहरूले अलरेडी लर्निङ सर्कल युज गर्नुभएको छ भने तपाईँले सिम्पली स्विफ्ट च्याट खोलेर यहाँ मुनि च्याट छ च्याटमा जानुहोस् तपाईँले त्यहीँ देख्नुहुन्छ यु विल नट निड अ न्यू क्युआर कोड आई एम सिइङ द्याट क्युआर कोड माग्नु हुँदैछ रहेछ यु जस्ट ह्याभ टु गो यस मेनी पिपल ह्याभ अलरेडी रेजिस्टर्ड तपाईँहरूको च्याटमा जानुहोस् लर्निङ सर्कल त्यहीँ पाउनुहुन्छ तपाईँले अगर पहिला युज गर्नु भएको छैन भने मात्रै स्क्यान गर्नुपर्छ यसलाई हाउ टु रेजिस्टर भन्नुहुँदै रहेछ लर्निङ सर्कल युज गर्नु भएको छ भने यहाँ मुनि च्याटमा जानुहोस् स्विफ्ट च्याट खोलेर देयर इज दिस च्याटमा गएर तपाईँले लर्निङ सर्कल पाउनुहुन्छ अगर तपाईँले गर्नु भएको छैन भने चाहिँ यहाँनिर स्क्यान गर्नुहोस् कहिले पनि युज गर्नु भएको छैन भने चाहिँ ट्रेनिङ कोड इनभ्यालिड छैन समन हेज रिटर्न इनभ्यालिड ट्रेनिङ कोड प्लिज तपाईँले अगाडि पछाडि यसलाई एउटा पनि स्पेस नलगाई जस्तो छ त्यस्तै इफ इट्स क्यापिटल लेटर स्मल लेटर छ भने स्मल लेटर जस्तोको तस्तै तपाईँहरूले कपी पेस्ट गर्नुहोस् देन इट विल वर्क many people have already registered it will work please try again I'm seeing someone's Swift chat is not working. Please तपाईँले आफ्नो एप एक्जिट गर्नुहोस् अनि फेरि एन्टर गर्नुहोस्. तपाईँहरूले अगर एउटा स्कुलबाट एकैजना मात्रै जोइन गर्नुभएको छ, एउटै स्क्रिनबाट जोइन गर्नुभएको छ भने प्लिज नो द्याट एभ्री वान हेज टु रेजिस्टर हियर एन्ड मार्क यर एटेन्डेन्स. मिटिङ कोड होइन, तपाईँले ट्रेनिङ कोड लाउनुपर्छ. यो लर्निङ सर्कलमा तपाईँले आफ्नो इम्प्लोइ आइडी युडाइस कोड लगाएर इनरोलमा जानुहोस्. This will close at 11:30, waiting for just 11 more, and we will begin our session. Grant token access expired भयो भने तपाईँले लोकेसन एक्सेस दिनुपर्छ. यहाँनिर थिङ्स टु रिमेम्बर, प्लिज टर्न अन लोकेसन, गिभ एक्सेस लर्निङ सर्कल, एन्ड डु नट लिभ एक्स्ट्रा स्पेस इन बिट्विन or आफ्टर. एटेन्डेन्स अटोमेटिकली यहीँबाट मार्क हुन्छ. एकछिनबाट हामीले एटेन्डेन्स मार्क गर्ने पोर्टल खोलिन्छ. अहिले तपाईँले जस्ट रेजिस्टर गर्नुहोस्. ग्रान्ड टोकन एक्सपायर्ड भयो भने प्लिज तपाईँले लोकेसन एक्सेस दिनुभएको छैन, एक्जिट गर्नुहोस्, लोकेसन अन राख्नुहोस्, ग्रान्ड एक्सेस गर्नुहोस्, देन इट विल वर्क. If you are enrolled, please wait. We will begin our session at 11:30 sharp. अहिले हामी सबैलाई रेजिस्ट्रेसन गर्न सक्नु दिइहालौँ. अगर तपाईँले रेजिस्टर गर्न सक्नु भएको छैन भने प्लिज रिच आउट टु यर रेस्पेक्टिभ मास्टर ट्रेनरले तपाईँलाई हेल्प गर्नुहुन्छ. ओके, इफ तपाईँलाई केही पनि प्रब्लम छ भने यु जस्ट निड यर स्कुलको युडाइस कोड एन्ड यर इम्प्लोइ आइडिज. लाइभ लोकेसन तपाईँले हाउ टु अपलोड लाइभ लोकेसन. तपाईँले लाइभ लोकेसन अपलोड गर्नु होइन, यु जस्ट ह्याभ टु टर्न अन यर लोकेसन. पहिला फर्स्ट स्टेप फोनको लोकेसन अन गर्नुहोस्. त्यहाँदेखि जब तपाईँ लर्निङ सर्कल खोल्नुहुन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ ग्रान्ड एक्सेस गर्नुहोस्. यु क्यान एक्जिट एन्ड ट्राई अगेन. गङ्गा लामिछिने म्याम. ट्रेनिङ कोड यहीँ छ. ट्रेनिङ कोड यो हो, यो लाउनुहोस्. क्यापिटल लेटर डी, स्मल लेटर ए, डब्ल्यु, युए, क्याप्स बिवाई. यो चाहिँ तपाईँहरूलाई रेजिस्टर गर्नु हो. समन हेज आस्किङ के गर्नु, यो चाहिँ रेजिस्टर गर्नु हो तपाईँहरूलाई इन द ट्रेनिङ सेसन, एन्ड देन युल बी एबल टु मार्क यर एटेन्डेन्स थ्रु दिस. तपाईँहरूले ट्रेनिङ गर्नुभएको अनि त्यहाँनिर रेकर्ड बस्छ. ट्राइड सेभरल टाइम्स टु जोइन रहेछ कसैजनाको. सुजन मङ्गर सर, प्लिज तपाईँले फर्स्टमा आफ्नो लर्निङ सर्कल एक्जिट गर्नुहोस्. क्लोज द स्विफ्ट च्याट एप. त्यहाँदेखि तपाईँले आफ्नो लोकेसन अन राख्नुहोस्. त्यहाँदेखि तपाईँले फेरि स्विफ्ट च्याट खोलेर लर्निङ सर्कल खोलेर चाहिँ यो आइडी लाउनुहोस्. ट्रेनिङ कोड इज हियर अन द स्क्रिन. पाल्देन शेर्पा सर, आई आस्क टु जोइन द मिटिङ बट नो वान लेट मी इन. यो तपाईँहरूलाई युट्युब लाइभमा हुन्छ. सो if it's, we have to attend YouTube. YouTube, you don't have to attend the Google Meet. You just have to join the YouTube. Directly YouTube मै हुन्छ. Attendance will be marked online as I said earlier. तपाईँलाई अलरेडी लग्ड इन भनेर इनरोल्ड भनेर देखाउँदैछ भने त्यति राख्दै गर्नुहोस्। एकछिनबाट हामी टाइम भन्छ। तपाईँले कतिखेर एटेन्डेन्स मार्क गर्नु। तपाईँले युट्युब you just have to join the YouTube. You don't have to come to the Google. This will be done through the YouTube session directly. Okay, we just have 6 more minutes to go and we will start the session. Okay, if the registration is done, please wait for some time. We will begin in next 5 minutes. ट्रेनिङ कोड तपाईँले यो लाउनुहोस् म्याम, यहाँनिर कसैले सोध्नु भएको रहेछ। यो लाउनुहोस् ट्रेनिङ कोड, यहाँनिर क्यापिटल लेटरमा राखिदिएको छ तपाईँलाई। This is my first training. What should I do? Because I was in another training last time भन्नुभएको रहेछ कसैले। तपाईँले स्विफ्ट च्याट डाउनलोड गर्नुभएको होला फर्स्टमा त। अनि स्विफ्ट च्याट डाउनलोड गर्नुभएको छ भने यहाँनिर स्क्यानर पाउनुहुन्छ। तपाईँले यसरी यो कोडलाई स्क्यान गर्नुहोस् एन्ड आफ्टर द्याट यु विल ह्याभ टु पुट यर स्कुलको युडाइस कोड एन्ड यर इम्प्लोइ कोड एन्ड देन इनरोल टु द सेसन युजिङ दिस। I am unable to log into learning circle भनेको रहेछ कसैले। प्लिज तपाईँले I am not sure what is your problem, but you can just log out। एकपल्ट स्विफ्ट च्याट अफ गर्नुहोस्, त्यहाँदेखि तपाईँले फेरि आफ्नो लोकेसन अन गरेर गिफ्ट एक्सेस गरेर फेरि ट्राई गर्नुहोस्। एटेन्डेन्स नट एबल टु डु एटेन्डेन्स एकछिनबाट हुन्छ, अहिले खुलेको छैन, अहिले रेजिस्ट्रेसन मात्रै हो। एटेन्डेन्स विल बी डन इन सम टाइम। एटेन्डेन्सको लागि प्लिज वेट गर्नुहोस्, अहिले रेजिस्ट्रेसन मात्रै हो। Recently transferred teacher unable to register, what we do? Okay, अगर तपाईँलाई प्रिभियसको युडाइसको याद छ भने तपाईँ त्यसमा लाउनुहोस्. तपाईँको इम्प्लोइ आइडी इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट आइडेन्टिफायर. अगर छैन भने तपाईँले त्यतिकै राख्नुहोस्. आफ्नो मास्टर ट्रेनरलाई नाम दिनुहोस्. वी विल सी हियर. Yes, after enrolling, you have to attend the YouTube live. You have to be here only. Okay, now the enrollment window will close and we will begin the session. Thank you, everyone, whoever has enrolled. Now we will begin the session. The window has closed for registration. Now I will be introduce. Okay, registration done. ठिकै छ, राम्रो हो. Grant token expire तपाईँले आफ्नो location on गर्नुपर्छ, please. But now the registration window has closed. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining in. Now I'll be passing this over to our resource person, Ravinder, who is our Ravinder. Okay, she has joined from Delhi right now. She's the resource person for today's session. Uh, Hi Ravinder, to you now.
Thank you so much, Varsha. I'm so glad to have you all on board with us. Yeah. So I would like to once again welcome you all. So I would like to once again welcome you all to our session today, which is around transforming classrooms, pedagogy that helps children learn. So this is going to be a 2-day session, and let's quickly understand how this 2-day session is going to look like. We will start our day today with some reflections. We will talk about the role of prior knowledge, also what student engagement looks like. We will understand what pedagogy is, how learning outcomes, pedagogy, and assessment are linked, and how do pedagogical choices impact learning. And we will end today's session with some reflection and key takeaways. Day 2 will have a recap of key ideas from day 1. We will have some discussion around teacher-led versus learner-centered classrooms. We will talk about rote learning and understanding. We will understand how real classroom scenarios and examples can look like. And we will talk about pedagogical choices that teachers make in class and some reflections again around changes that we can have in your classes. So let's begin with our day 1. So before we begin, let's take a pause and have some reflections, think around few things. I want you to think of something that you have learned very well in life. And how did you learn it? Did you learn it by listening? Did you learn it by experiencing? Did you learn it by exploring? So I want you to be answering quickly on chats. I'm looking at chats right in front of me. So I would like to repeat my question. I want you all to think of something that you have learned very well in your life. And how did you learn it? Did you only learn it by listening? Did your teacher told you about it and you learned it, or you needed to experience it, you needed to do it, or you needed to explore it? How did you learn it? I'm looking at responses. By experiencing, okay? By exploring, another response we have. We do it by Yojna Sharma is saying, ma'am is saying we learnt by doing it. Okay. Sujata ma'am learnt by experiencing. I already apologize if I am pronouncing your names incorrectly. Please pardon me. Sujata ma'am learnt by listening. Sangai ma'am learnt by experiencing. So, okay. Dinesh ji learnt by listening. Okay. This also tells us that learners can have multiple ways of learning. But majorly we see you all have learnt by exploring. Pegma G, there's an account named Pegma98. They learned by exploring, experiencing, and observing. Very good. DP ma'am learned by experiencing and exploring. Rosalind G learned by doing. Dorothy Bhutia Ji learned by learned through experiences. Very good. A lot of response interaction. Very good answer here. Sonam Bhutia. Vikas, I also want you to look at some responses. Help me look at responses. Okay, we have Sonam Ji who learnt by experience and exploring. We have Prakash Ji who learnt by observation. Wonderful response. Oh, a beautiful answer here. There is an account called Nomad Namgyal. I don't know your name, but they have a beautiful answer, and I completely agree. The answer says they learnt by traveling. Such a beautiful answer. But again, it comes under exploring and experiencing only, but a wonderful answer. I completely agree. Okay, thank you so much for actively answering my question. Meena ji says they learned because they were curious. Very good answer. Christina ji says that they learned by curiosity and positive attitude. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all the wonderful responses. Responses are still pouring in. Mamta ji says they learned by playways. Very good. There's an account named World Mountaineer. They learned by peer learning and experiencing. Vikash, would you like to take a look at some responses and help me? Okay. We have another wonderful answer. Leela ji, they learn by mistakes. Wow. I'm getting some such amazing answers. Wonderful. So I think let's move on. Thank you so much for all the lovely answers. Desired environment is another answer that I'm getting. There's an account named OLTV. They're saying they learned by desired environment. Wonderful answers. Thank you so much. Let's move on. It was indeed a very valuable reflection that you all are doing with us. Let's move on. So like you all said, we learned by traveling, we learned because we were curious, we learned by listening, we learn, but we are getting another answer in front of me. We can learn something by communicating. So clearly what I understand is that we all are on the same page when we say that learning is an active process. You have to do, you have to experience, you have to travel, you have to make mistakes. I'm getting another response, learning by real life situations. But clearly it has to be an active process. It's not a passive process where children quietly sit down, just copy from notebook, and teacher is the only active.
I can remove myself. Please here?
I think I don't need to further talk about it because I think we all are on the same page that learning is an active process where we need to do, think, talk, experience, explore, make mistakes, travel, are curious, are discussing. Tara Sharma ji is saying we learn from nearby surrounding too. I think depends on situation. There's another answer that says depends on situation. Absolutely. Your topic, we will also talk about it further, that not only how you are learning, how the learning has to happen, has to depend on different aspects. Very well said. Okay, I'm getting a response here that I'm not audible. Please help me with that. Okay, it also says my screen is not visible. Let me share my screen again. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Am I audible now? Is my
Mm. Ravinder, we were just trying to share a bigger screen. That is why I think from your side it is fine. We are just doing it. Yeah. I don't know. No? Yes, Ravinder, we are checking. Is it audible now? Ravinder, can you just try speaking once? Ravinder, can you try speaking? Ravinder, can you try speaking once? Yes, 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 you are audible. Ravinder, I am sharing it again. Not sure if they are here.
They are not able to hear, I think, Ravinder. Barsha, could you
Ravinder,
please
try
look into
speaking
it?
once.
Am I audible now? Please respond. Can you hear me? Am I audible now? No sound.
No, you're
Am I
not
audible
audible.
now?
Now you are audible.
Please respond.
Yes,
Yes, I think
Ravinder, you
now.
are audible.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So getting back, I was saying that I wanted you to share few examples of how you felt that prior knowledge did play some role when you were teaching a concept. Like I was explaining, that when we are teaching fractions in the class, we already know that children are coming with some prior knowledge of sharing food with their siblings, of sharing food in family. And when we are talking about measurement, we already know that children have some experience of filling water bottles. When we are teaching plants, we already know that children do see plants around. They know what how plants look like. So, would you like to comment on this? Because I'll give you some examples that when I was teaching grade three, I think grade two or three in my time when I was a teacher, I realized that when I was teaching fractions, when I was teaching him through an example of a roti, children were able to share with us that whenever they share roti or maybe pizza with their siblings, one sibling gets a larger piece, one sibling gets a smaller piece. Again, not audible, Barsha. Piece, one sibling gets a small. Barsha, can you confirm that I'm audible? I'm again getting a lot of responses that I'm not audible.
No idea if it's happening because of the internet, because I can hear. I'm also on YouTube right
You're able to hear me?
now. I'm able to hear. I'm not
Okay, okay,
sure.
okay, okay, okay,
Might be because of the internet connection.
okay, okay, okay. All right. So, yeah, I'm waiting for some. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, let's quickly get back to our content. Let's quickly get back to what we were discussing. So, what do you think is the role of prior knowledge in the class? Would you like to share some examples that you experienced in your class? Thank you. Thank you. I'm waiting for some example, some reference that you would like to share through recapitulation. Okay. You said when you recap. So prior knowledge is, it's not about recapitulation. Prior knowledge is when we are starting a new topic. There's some previous knowledge children already have because of that they have experienced at home in their life. Otherwise, okay, we have Kamalimbu G sharing that children learn better when I start with students' previous experiences, use real life example, connect new ideas with familiar situations. Very well said. This is a perfect relation to what we are actually saying, that previous experiences, previous knowledge, prior knowledge, whatever we call it, it helps children connect with new ideas better. Okay, wonderful. Roshanji is saying prior knowledge is equal to experience. Perfect. Experience that they already have in life before you have actually begun a topic. Okay. Dipenji is saying that we should wash out hands before eating. Okay. Maybe that's a concept that they took up in the class. Wonderful. Aryaji saying prior knowledge helps us to make connections with the topic easily. Absolutely. Yankee ji saying one should have idea about particular lesson which you're about to start. Dorji, there's an account named Dorji Habutia saying asking them about their experiences. Very good. When you begin the class, talking to them about their experiences around the topic before beginning the topic really helps. Helps them create better connections. Children feel familiar. Bhavna ji saying children feel familiar and connect better. Wonderful. Indra ji saying I will help to connect with the chapter. We have Durga ji saying daily activities in surrounding, connect to info what you already know. Aarti ji is saying, I think we are all on the same page. Let's move ahead. What happens actually when we connect to prior knowledge? It's absolutely what you've already responded in the chats. Children understand faster because they're able to make connects. And students participate more because they have some reference, like Eden ji saying, for example, teaching about family, they already know about the members of the family and name them well. So because they're able to do all of this, they participate better in the class. Learning becomes more meaningful because it's related to their real life, and concepts stay for a long time for the same reason. Knowledge, we have another response that says knowledge about the lesson before being taught, they relate better, understand better. Absolutely. Prior knowledge motivates them for further studies. Very well said. Very well said. Okay. Let's move on. So this is a simple classroom example that you are seeing on your screen. So in the first example, teacher is teaching the topic without using prior knowledge as a tool. Whereas in the second example, teacher is using prior knowledge, students' prior knowledge to help them gain better understanding of the concept. In the first example, teacher is simply teaching the definition of fraction, whereas in the second example, teacher is using concept of sharing roti between two people and how much does it get. Children are already doing all of this at home. So this is a very same concept, very different learning. In which one do you think children will learn better? The first example or this is the second example? First example where teacher is simply starting the chapter by teaching them the definition of fraction, whereas in the second example, teacher is using their real life example to teach them better. Second example, thank you, Roshanji, thank you, Lakshmanji, thank you. Thanks everyone. Let's move on. But just knowing is not enough. I have a prior knowledge, but until and unless my prior knowledge is used by the teacher and I am engaging with learning. So having prior knowledge, I may have a prior knowledge, but if I'm not, as a student, if I'm not engaging with learning well, it will not help. So students' participation, students' engagement is very important. Anuji saying helps in understanding and makes learning easier and faster. Absolutely. We have Dechen Bhutiaji saying the child already knows that when soap is used on a t-shirt with certain food stains like curry or turmeric stain, changes color and turn reds, which helps in introducing the concept of indicator. Perfect. Absolutely. So we know that classroom engagement of children in classroom is very important for learning to happen. And we have already spoken about it, that learning has to be an active process. But how do I know that my students are engaged? Are they asking questions? Are they participating in discussion well? Are they trying to solve problems? Are they explaining ideas to peer? Are they eager to answer, focused on the task? So how do we encourage? Very good question. How do we encourage participation? Let's go through this slides. Let's go through this whole module, and then we will come back to this question. I will write down this question. There's an account called Let Me Hide a Little. But I'm writing down this question, and we will make sure we come back to this question after, if we still feel that this question is not answered during this discussion. I hope that helps. Okay. But even if we say, even if we say that the classroom is engaging, we are doing some activity, do you think all children learn the same way? Do you think if I'm doing an activity in the class, every student will be equally engaged? I'm waiting for your responses. Okay, we have a response. Relate whatever they experienced with the present situation or with the topic they are in. Okay. My question is, I understood my question. Okay, I've started getting responses. No. But why no? Also help me understand, if we are, as teachers, we all know that if we are doing an activity in the class, not all students will get engaged in the same way. Why? We have an answer from Dakima ji that says who says that it depends on their understanding. Roshan ji is saying that when students feel easy and loved, they participate actively. This sentence has two words. When students feel easy and loved. Loved, yes, when they are appreciated, when they are respected, when they are loved, they want to learn. But when do they feel easy? Roshanji, I want you to respond. When do they feel easy? When do children feel easy in the class? There's an account called Bhim Dungel. They say different levels of learning, absolutely. Meena ji is saying some are fast learners, some are slow. But we just read a response when students feel easy. Feel easy, I think these responses only answer when children understand at their level. When learning comes at their level, they start feeling easy about the topic. Variety, individual differences, absolutely. Different levels of learning. When activity or a concept is going on according to their level of learning, they feel easy. Okay, let's move on. Learning differences. So, like many of you have already spoken about it. Edin Lepcha ji, because of learning differences. Gunjan ji has already spoken about individual differences. A lot of you have already spoken about. Uh, there's another account. They say individual difference level. Absolutely. So children may have different learning levels, and there are different ways of learning also. Like already we have spoke in the beginning, we spoke how you liked learning. Some of you said by traveling, some of you said because we are curious, some of you said by discussion, by communicating. So we already know that learners learn by different ways. Some learn by seeing, some learn by doing, some learn by discussing, some learn by repeating. I believe I'm an audible learner. I listen better I learn better when I'm listening to things. Dinesh ji has already made this point. There are types of learners also by hearing, by visual, kinesthetic. Absolutely. So another question I have with you, that now that we know that students learn in their own ways, everyone, like, we have another answer. Everyone learns at their own pace since they have different cognitive level. Okay, absolutely. So another reflection question that I have around here, I want you to think about a time when you started a new topic in your class. What teaching strategies did you use to check students' prior knowledge? Keeping in mind different ways of learning, keeping in mind the role of prior knowledge, keeping in mind we have to keep our classrooms engaging and active. What teaching strategies did you use to check students' prior knowledge? I'm waiting for your responses. Through peer work. Very good answer. Chetanji is saying asking for experiences. Absolutely correct. Recapitulate. See, prior knowledge is checked when you're beginning a lesson, okay? Questioning is a technique that Bijay ji is using to check students' prior knowledge. We again, Bhim Dungel ji is also using questioning as a technique. Okay, Radhika ji is saying she uses discussion as a tool. Okay. By asking questions, classroom discussion. Okay. We have Srijan ji answering, for example, while teaching law of demand, inverse relationship price in between price and demand, their prior knowledge of price increases when we demand less. Absolutely. Peer work is another response we've got. Questioning, we see a lot of you are saying that you use questioning as a tool. We will also talk about it. Motivation with storytelling. Okay. Questioning, again questioning, I see brainstorming, motivation, discussion. Group discussion is another response that I've got. Very good. So clearly you all are using different ways of checking students' prior knowledge. You are using different ways in engaging children. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. I think we can move on. Pre-test is another question answer we've got. Bima Ji. Very good answer. Pre-test. This account named Nomad Namgyal says, by triggering curiosity. How do you trigger curiosity is my question. Okay, wonderful answers. Wonderful. Thank you so much for all the beautiful answers. Group work, group discussion, conducting activity, hands-on learning. Absolutely correct. Thank you so much for all the amazing responses. I'm so glad. So, like we have some examples where we can check students. Let's look at it. We ask some open questions and we are giving some examples here. So ask questions like, what do you already know about the topic, or have you seen this before? So again, a form of questioning that you all are already doing. Think, pair, share. We are using the activity named Think, Pair, and Share. Students think individually, discuss with a partner, and then share their ideas in the class. So we are doing the activity of Think, Pair, Share. There's discussion also, there's peer teaching also, peer activity also. Can you also, this kind of open questions I'm sure you're asking in the class, can you also share an example of such open question, because you all are saying that you're using questioning as a tool to check students' prior knowledge. Can you share example of one question, one such question that you asked in the class that triggered curiosity, like one of you said, that triggered their responses? One such example of open question that you thought was a wonderful question that you asked in the class. Before I move on to some more examples. Okay, one such question that you asked in the class. I'm waiting for your responses. Okay. Karma ji is saying, by in language class, I make students guess the story by simply reading the title. This helps in creating interest among students. But okay. One question around prior that helps you check their prior knowledge. Okay. Nayan Sharma, a lot of responses. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we all are participating like this. Thank you so much. What would you do if you are in place of Raju in a particular topic? Okay. What happened when you eat food? So children have children have knowledge that they will tell you what happens to the food when they eat. Okay. So you can build on it. Great. We have, okay. Ram Prasad ji saying, have you ever been in jungle? I would, if I were in your place, Ram Prasad ji, I would have added one more phrase to it. What did you see? What did you observe? What did you experience? Asking questions, Prasang ji, but what question? I want example of one question. Okay, the account name Niska2098 says, what happens when solar eclipse occur? Okay, because students have seen solar eclipse, let them share their part of the story. Not bad. Okay. Another response is, what would happen if the earth suddenly stopped rotating? Okay. Okay. We have an account named Songs New. They say, what did you have in your breakfast today while teaching topic of food? Okay, nice. What would happen if there were no plants on earth? Very interesting questions you all are asking, I must say. Okay. Uh, there's another account. They say, can you say what you saw on your way to the school this morning? Okay, good question. How do you help your parents at school? Okay. Okay, another question. How is electricity generated before teaching the chapter about electricity? Okay, to check their understanding, previous knowledge. Bhavna ji saying, what did you see / notice while coming to school? And let every child speak. Beautiful. Wonderful. Beautiful responses. Oh, I see a beautiful question here. I love it. Uh, Laithang Stong, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrect. I'm so sorry. The question is that says, why does when we hear acid, it sounds dangerous, but yet important for our body? Very good question. Wonderful. Too many questions. Wonderful. I'm sorry, I will not be able to read all the questions, but they're all beautiful. My colleagues are taking notes of these questions because I hope you're on the task. And very nice. Okay, so there's another question. I love this question. What did you feel when you see flowers before teaching the chapter Happy Mood? Beautiful question. You all are asking wonderful questions in the class. Another question that I see, can you share me the funniest thing that happened to you? What would you teach based on this knowledge? I am curious. Okay, let's move on. Okay, another way of checking their prior knowledge is picture or object discussion. Show a picture, show a diagram, show an object related to the topic, and ask students what do they know about it. Or maybe write a topic on the board and ask students to share words or ideas related to it is another way. So you all are using already amazing questions in your class. So I have one more question for you all. Be ready with your keypads. Why is it important to discuss students' prior knowledge in a session on pedagogy? So today's session is on pedagogy, but why is Ravinder discussing prior knowledge so much? Can you tell me? We are discussing, this session overall is on pedagogy, but why are we talking so much about prior knowledge? Okay, Lakshmanji is saying to plan teaching strategies. Wonderful answer. Christina ji is saying some may have background knowledge that allows them to grasp concept immediately, while others need more foundational support. Very good answer. Okay. Another account says, so we can know the level of knowledge and level of students. Okay. But how, you all are saying to check their knowledge, but how does it relate to pedagogy is my question. Okay. We have an account named Genji Hun. They say, so that we can strategize our teaching methods. Wonderful answer. Absolutely. Oh, Suraj ji is saying to be able to choose the right pedagogy depending on the level of knowledge of the learners. You said it all. Wonderful. Absolutely. To plan teaching methods. I think we all are on the same page. You all understand that we are discussing so much about students' prior knowledge is so that we can plan our teaching strategies, we can plan our pedagogy based on what they know. Absolutely correct. Another question for you, because we are seeing you all are responding so well. I have to keep asking you questions to get all the wonderful responses. When do children learn the best? Let me see your perspective of this. Everybody may have a different perspective. All of us may have a different perspective on this. When do children learn the best? When they're happy. Absolutely. Fung Ji, absolutely correct. When they enjoy lessons. Again, a wonderful answer. When they are connected. Again, absolutely correct answer. Through play, when they're interested, to motivate the new topic, when they are happy and interested, when they are having fun, when they understand better, when they're engaged. Absolutely. Activity based learning, hands on, conducive classroom, learning through play. Absolutely correct. All answers are correct. You already know it all. But because we are talking about so much about playway methods and connecting children and engaging children and learning by doing and joyful classrooms, do you think a classroom where teacher is giving us plain simple lecture, standing in front of the class, where students are quietly listening, they have no other option, whether or not they are understanding, they are made to quietly sit and listen, is that a joyful class? I'm waiting for your responses. No. So clearly, it's on us to engage children. It's on us to make our teaching effective. It's on us to have an engaging classroom. So let's talk about some traditional and effective teaching methods. So, again, like I just said, we have two contrasts here. We have a classroom where teacher is giving the lecture, students are quietly sitting and copying. Discussion, another classroom where discussion is happening, children are doing an activity, they are talking about plant is right in front of them, they are doing something with the plant, they are making their own notes, they are sitting in a group, clearly they are discussing with each other. So think of a typical classroom in your school. What kind of classroom usually do you all have in your school? Although listening to all the responses, I already know the answer, but still I will ask this question. Look at both the classrooms. Which classroom, a typical class in your school, which side does it look closer to? Second one, Rima ji, thank you. I already knew the answer. Because she's saying even adults get bored with continuous listening. That is why I'm asking so many questions. And I think as a teacher, you also enjoy teaching when the class is engaging. Like, I would not like taking this session if only I am talking and I am not taking your responses. When you get responses from the other side, it can be really amazing. It can be really creative. You get to know what others are thinking. You get to know what the other side is understanding, how they're responding to what you are talking about. When the classroom, second one, I already knew the answer, but I still asked. Thank you so much. So, teacher led versus learner centered classrooms. By now, we've spoken already enough about how students need to talk and think and ask questions. But let's quickly take a look how a teacher led classroom looks like. In a teacher led classroom, teacher talks most of the time, students are listening quietly. The focus is mainly on finishing the syllabus, and teacher is at the board, maybe not even walking towards the children. In a learner centered classroom, students talk, students think, they ask questions, they focus on understanding, and teacher moves around the class to understand children better. We have another slide around rote learning versus understanding. So, when do we know it's actually rote learning happening? So, when children are memorizing definitions, when children are repeating answers, they fear mistakes, and there could be one correct answer. Whereas the kind of questions that you are asking in the class that I'm seeing, there may not be one correct answer. When you are asking such beautiful questions in the class that, what did you see while coming to school? There's no correct answer. I may be seeing a building, the other person may be seeing a tree, whatsoever. So you're focusing on understanding, you're focusing on removing fear of mistakes from children. When our classrooms are focused on understanding, questions connect to real life. Questions, students explain answers in their own words. They're not fear of mistakes. They don't fear of mistakes. They try, they learn, and they think. And there could be multiple ways of thinking. Your correct answer and my correct answer may be different. So, whether teaching should be one way or interactive, again, one way teaching is more like a teacher led classroom where again teacher talks most of the time, students listen silently, focus is on completing the syllabus, the pace is same without understanding whether children have who's learning, who's not learning, not understanding different pace of learning, not understanding different levels of learning, not understanding different types of learners, and hardly or any understanding of what students have understood. Whereas in an interactive classroom, students talk, think, respond, ask questions, focus on student understanding. Teacher adjusts her pedagogy based on student responses, and teacher continuously checks whether students have understood. Absolutely. Now, I will take you through some classroom scenarios and tell me whether you understood what you understand out of these responses. So, we have two ways of teaching integers. You've already said, Genji Hanji, that class has to be child centric. Sushmita is saying through playway method, but let's go through these classroom scenarios. There's a traditional way of teaching integers where teacher tells children to memorize rules, whereas there's an effective way where teachers use real life examples like examples of temperature. Usually we see examples of lift. In first traditional way, students memorize equations, but they don't really understand the concept. Whereas in this effective way of teaching, students understand the concepts, so they don't have to memorize equations. They understand, so they are able to apply the concept. Rote learning just helps you finish the syllabus, whereas understanding builds learning. Similarly, we have another example of teaching nouns. Noun traditional way is again memorizing definition and effective ways using different activities, like here, name, place, animal, thing activities being used to teach nouns. So again, which method do you think builds understanding when our teaching is student centric? Thank you, Durga ji. Second one, thank you, Mangal ji. Discussion activities, absolutely. Thank you so much for all your responses. We have another, thank you, Karma ji. We have another example, teaching writing skills. One way could be you give the topic, give some pointers, and students copy given responses. Whereas effective way, you give a topic, there is a discussion in the class, some ideas around the topic are jotted down, and based on the discussion and the ideas, students write their piece. So clearly, in the second way, children learn to think. So the effective pedagogy builds learning, builds understanding. Another example of teaching shadow formation. Second, okay. First one again, definition. Students are memorizing definition. Teacher explains, students copy. Second way is teacher is using a torch. They are creating shadows on the wall. Students predict, students observe, they are exploring, they are discussing, involving the students like Surajji saying, Tenzin ji saying, so they are connecting with previous knowledge in the new situation, absolutely. So they are able to learn better. Again, social science topic, traditional ways, telling them how which king ruled which kingdom, ancient times, when did that happen. Effective ways, we see children playing a role play. So students, they enact the role of kings and ministers, they discuss, act questions. So this is active participation, and like you all are already reiterating enough that playway method, activity method, students learn better. About sources of water, again, there's a traditional way, there's an effective way. In the traditional way, students are memorizing. In effective way, students are looking at a model of water resources and understanding through that model. Yeah, more interesting and joyful, like you're saying, discussion activities. Taraji, thank you so much. So basically, if we were to overall collate, what were students doing in these effective teaching approaches? Playway method, okay. Activities. Thank you so much, Meenuji. They were doing activities. They had something to do. Participating. Kamalji, thank you so much. Okay. Engaging. Thank you so much for your answers. Participating, playing, role play. Yeah. So they had something to do. They were engaging with the content. They were engaging with the concept. Students are active. Very good answer. Students were active. So in a rote classroom, teacher explains the parts of the plant, asks students to memorize. This was a rote classroom. What activity can you plan if you were to teach parts of plant? A very simple topic. Even if you're a social science teacher, even if you're a maths teacher, I think you can suggest some answers here. If you were to, as a teacher, explain parts of plants, what would you, which activity would you plan? I'm waiting for your responses. Field-based activity. Beautiful answer, Haishi ji. Field visit. Prakash ji. Wonderful answer. We can take students for a nature walk. Dechan ji, thank you. Beautiful answer. Showing pictures of parts of plants. Ganga ji, okay. I would take a plant to the class. Prema ji saying I would take a plant to the class. Dupraji is saying demonstration, beautiful. Lakshmanji is saying bringing a small plant and show them parts, okay? Nature walk, outdoor activities with real life. We have another answer, take the students outside and show the real plant and demonstrate with group activities. Wonderful, wonderful. Beautiful answers. Thank you so much. Again, a reflection. Think about your class, whatever you're teaching. So, write a topic that you would want to teach in the class and which pedagogy would you like to use? Which method, which teaching strategy would you like to use? One method you would like to engage students in learning. I would suggest write your subject first or the topic first, and then write which method would you want to use to engage students in learning. Write your topic and then write which method you would want to use to engage students. Okay. Playway method. Topic green vegetables. How would you like to teach green vegetables, Sujata ji? Mathematics discussion, think, pair, share. Okay. Parts of flower. Durga ji would like to teach through demonstration method. EVS water topic. You would like to teach through activity method. Sushma ji would like to teach parts of plant using learning by doing. Acid-based indicators, Dechanji would like to teach using hands-on learning or experiment. Thank you. Types of plants, field trip, demonstration. Kelsangji, thank you. Parts of plant using a game. Anjana ji, amazing. Okay, English. Okay. Shape. For shape, you would like to use shape hunt method. Wonderful. Simple equation with a balanced scale. Awesome, Dinesh ji. Okay. Agriculture topic using field visit. Great. Uma ji is saying vegetables using by bringing some vegetables to the classroom. Family and friends topic using role play method. Okay. Maths topic shape by using shape hunt. Okay. English using role play. Pratima ji, wonderful. Role play in English. EVS topic are families discussion method. Absolutely wonderful ideas you all have. Discovery of magnet using storytelling. Very good. Market topic using market visit. Counting numbers using counting of same objects. Okay. You all have wonderful ideas, I must say. So the way we plan and conduct teaching helps students learn better. And this is called pedagogy. When we think about students' prior knowledge, we understand how they learn. We accordingly plan our strategies to engage them. We support their learning. Is when we are doing all of this is actually when we are talking about pedagogy. So let's understand what is pedagogy. So pedagogy, like I said, is not an easy thing. You have to understand children's level of learning. You have to understand what kind of interactions you have to have in the class, what strategies you have to use. When you are planning all of this, it makes pedagogy an art and a science that a teacher uses to enable learning. So, like when you see this image, it says that when pedagogy guides teacher to help, that helps student understand what methods will you use, what interactions you will have in the class, which strategies will you use, what kind of decisions you make in the class, What kind of decision? Which decisions you make? It could be deciding which activity, which field visit, when to do it. When all of this is happening, that's what pedagogy is. When you're planning all of this, this is what pedagogy is. Classroom activities, Ganeshji, yeah, right. And pedagogy is visible in everyday classroom action. Everything that you do, every decision that you take in the class is around pedagogy. So, how do I know that this is a great pedagogy? Because all of us want to use good pedagogy in the class. So, remember, ask more of why questions instead of only asking what questions. Encourage thinking in the class than just only asking for questions. So, if I ask you a yes no question, did you go to market? You will say yes or no. But if I ask you when you went to the market, what did you see? Why did you see that? Why did it happen? So all these questions will engage thinking, whereas yes no questions will not encourage thinking. And a good pedagogy allows students to try, to fail, to give ideas. But also, let's understand that pedagogy, learning outcomes, and assessment are linked to each other. Quickly write few responses so I know how you understand this relationship. What do you understand when we say pedagogy, learning outcomes, and assessment? How are they related? Waiting for your responses. How are pedagogy, learning outcomes, and assessments? They are part of the process, okay. But how are they all related? See, let me give you some hint. Connection, yes. Aratharaji, there is connection. But let's understand that connect. Good pedagogy can help achieve LOs. Absolutely. They're part of teaching learning process. Sonamji, you're right. Align with each other. Sarita ji, you're right. They have to be aligned with each other. So, pedagogy, learning outcomes tell us what children will learn. When I know what children will learn, pedagogy will help me plan how do I teach it. And assessments assess how much students have learned. So it's a cycle. So Lakshmanji is saying pedagogy should be covered by attending the LO so that students are easy to assess. Good. So learning outcomes, understand it's a cycle. Learning outcomes tell us what to teach. Pedagogy helps us plan how do we teach. And assessment, what does assessment do? Assessment checks how much students have learned and how to improve. It also helps me to improve my pedagogy. So let's say if I've taught a topic in the class using a specific pedagogy, and when I assess students, I understood not everybody has learned the way I expected. So I will tweak my pedagogy. I will make changes to my pedagogy. So assessment basically tells us both about pedagogy and learning outcomes. What does it tell us about pedagogy? It tells us how well has my pedagogy performed. And what does it tell me about learning outcome? It tells me how much learning outcomes have been achieved. So when we go around this cycle properly, students' learning gets better. They all these three things together work to support better learning. Let's take a look at your responses. Pedagogy is the teaching method. Learning outcomes are the target that has to be achieved using pedagogy. Assessment is the question that we ask to achieve LOs. to check achievement of LOs using particular pedagogy. Okay. Uh, we plan pedagogy based on learning outcomes and assess based on LOs. Okay, good. Pedagogy is the teaching methods and learning outcomes is what children need to learn. Pedagogy directly deals with knowledge, hence knowing prior okay, the prior knowledge ki baat hogi. All right. Good pedagogy helps children learn better, and when we get good LO assessment, helps to tune a better pedagogy. I think you've got it right. So they all three work together for teacher to improve learning for children. So let's see. Tell me whether you find an alignment here. So students will be able, learning objective is that students will be able to find the area of rectangle. This is our LO. Students will be able to find the area of rectangle and apply it to real life situations. So the pedagogy used here is that teacher gives students different rectangular shapes, books, notebooks, desks, and asks them to measure length and breadth using ruler and calculate the area. Now this was the teaching method used. Now assessment happened. Students were asked to solve this question. A rectangular garden is 8 meter long, 5 meter wide. What is its area? And students explain how they calculated area. So a learning outcome defined assessment also and pedagogy also. Assessment tells how much learning outcome is achieved. It also tells how well pedagogy worked. Okay. Again, another example. Learning objective is students will understand how plants help in maintaining environment balance. Pedagogy used is teacher asks students to memorize definitions from notebook and explains the chapter through lecture. Students are asked to draw labels of plant. Now the assessment will tell us, is it aligned? Assessment is asking to draw and label parts of plant. Pedagogy is students were asked to memorize definition and chapter was explained through lecture. So is the pedagogy and assessment aligned? Learning objective was something else. It was how plants help in maintaining environment balance. So they're all not in the same line. Learning objective says how plants will help maintaining environmental balance. Pedagogy is going in different direction where students are asked to memorize definition from textbook. Assessment is different where students are asked to draw and label parts of the plant. So they are not aligned. What we are LO should define pedagogy and pedagogy should then lead to assessment. They all have to be aligned. What I am supposed to teach, LO will tell me. How I will teach, pedagogy will tell me. How well students have learned it, assessment will tell, but they all should be aligned. Clarity on learning outcomes shapes pedagogy and pedagogical choice and the pedagogical choices teacher makes. So when I have clarity as a teacher in what LO is, am I going to help students achieve? Only then I will be able to accordingly plan the right pedagogy and make the correct pedagogical choices. So when we say pedagogical choices, like this was a pedagogical, to help you understand the word pedagogical choice, this was a pedagogical choice. Teacher asked students to memorize definitions. So this was a choice that I made around pedagogy. So this is called a pedagogical choice. So let's understand how pedagogical choices impact learning of students. So a teacher wanted to teach maybe fractions. They use lecture as a method and students are listening passively. Do you think this is a correct pedagogical choice? If I am to teach fractions and I'm using lecture as a method, is it a correct pedagogical choice? Is it, I should not use the word correct. I think I should use the word effective. Is it an effective pedagogical choice? Will it be effective enough? Students are learning something about Earth's atmosphere. They're simply copying from the board and without understanding. Is it effective? Is it what we are looking at when we are talking about achieving learning outcomes? Another pedagogical choice that we see here is teacher is asking questions from students. Students are thinking and responding. Is it an effective pedagogical choice? We wanted students to think, we wanted students to talk in the class, and that's what is happening. Another pedagogical choice we see here is teacher is using real life examples to explain a topic. Students are able to relate because it's a familiar thing that teacher is using as a tool. Now students are understanding. Is it a good pedagogical choice? Effective pedagogical choice? Yes. Students are using group work or discussion, explaining to each other, peer work, as you all were using the word. It's definitely an effective pedagogical choice. Another pedagogical choice we see here is role play, storytelling. I already see you all are using it a lot. It's a wonderful pedagogical choice because, like you spoke about joyful learning, students are able to enjoy learning here, and hence learning is concrete. Pedagogical choice encouraging to explore, allow mistakes. Students feel safe to try. They will grow up as adults who are not afraid of trying things. It's a big win for us as teachers. Again, Jodo Gyan is a pedagogical choice. Jodo Gyan is something you all are already using in the class. It's very effective. Children are learning using materials. They are learning this discussion happening. Teacher facilitates. Teacher is not lecturing. Teacher is just making sure children are doing the right thing, and students are constructing their own understanding. So, what do you think? I have a question for you. What do you think are the implications of a pedagogical choice where teacher writes a paragraph on the board and asks students to copy? What will happen? How? What are the implications? What will be the result of this pedagogical choice where teacher is asking students is writing a paragraph on the board and is asking children to copy? What are the implications? टीचर सेंट्रिक तो हो गया बट इससे क्या होगा विल चिल्ड्रन लर्न not effective learning okay students do not get a chance to learn okay not correct pedagogical choice okay Lakshmi ji they will not understand Sujata ji thank you they can't learn okay LOs will not be achieved Samir ji thank you Tashil ji is saying they will not be able to learn another account says that it's a teacher centered and students will get bored. Rachel ji is saying they don't understand anything. Techin ji is saying they will lack interest in the subject or topic. Sanjay ji is saying they are copying without understanding. Kelsang ji is saying learning outcome will be 0. Another account says learning will not take place. Students are unable to express themselves. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for all the wonderful responses. So pedagogy is not a theory that we all need to understand. It's visible in very small choices that you make in the classroom every day. When students are struggling to learn, it's often pedagogical. When we say my students are not able to learn this concept, it's basically not the content which is the problem. Challenge is the pedagogical choice. So before we talk about my next question is going to be key learnings from today's session. But before we do all of that, I would like to come back to a question that was asked to me. How do we encourage participation? So this question was, we encourage participation. We've already spoken a lot about it. I would invite responses from you all. How do we encourage participation before I collate and answer this? How do we encourage? One of you had only asked this question. How do we encourage participation? We've spoken a lot about engaging students by involving children, Lakshmanji, but how do we involve? ऐसा क्या करें? How do we involve children? Doing peer group activities. Okay. So it's the plan, pedagogical choice that we make that allows us to engage children. So here they are giving an example of a pedagogical choice, group work, peer group. Okay. Motivating students, focus. Okay. Group activity method through play and offering choices. Okay. By giving opportunity to students to them express themselves by doing activity, using tangible materials to explain the content they get involved. Okay, wonderful. Giving them chance to explore and role play, peer learning, playway method, group activity, open discussion. Very good, Durga ji. By practicing fun games, connecting learning with real life situation. Very good answer. Through storytelling, by giving them opportunity, by giving them positive feedback. Wonderful. See, one thing is planning my pedagogy in a way that students are engaged. So if my pedagogical choice is lecture, I will never be able to engage children. But if my pedagogical choice is doing an activity, like one example said, using tangible objects, if my pedagogical choice is such, automatically students will do things. Another important thing is positive feedback. My students have to feel that they can express themselves. Giving a positive feedback, positive environment, asking open questions where they are allowed to make mistakes, allowed to say wrong things, listening to students and other things is creating joyful environment. Absolutely. Providing safe, supportive, and inclusive environment that allows them to lead. Absolutely correct. Methods of teaching, okay. Positive environment where students are free to express, creating an interesting environment. So planning an activity and giving safe space to students, I think when we are able to do both the things, participation will automatically happen. If I'm creating a joy, if I'm my pedagogical choice is giving lecture, I may give as much positive feedback, as much joyful environment. There's no space for children to speak or do something or participate. First step is I give space where I make a pedagogical choice where children are supposed to do things or participate, when my plan allows children to participate, and then when I'm giving a positive environment where they are freely expressing, allowed to make mistakes. I think when these two things couple up, students participate well. I hope I was able to answer your question. If not, please ask more questions. Thank you so much for all the wonderful answers. Coming back to today's session, what are your key learnings from the session? How did you find today's session? Quick responses, please. Waiting for your responses. Teaching is strategic, importance of prior knowledge, positive reinforcement. Please also feel free to leave a feedback for me. Fruitful. Okay. Group activity you will do. Okay. Teaching becomes effective when students are actively involved and lessons relate to daily life. Wonderful. Learning outcomes define the goal. Pedagogy delivers instruction, and assessment measures whether those outcomes are achieved. Innovative pedagogy. Okay. Pedagogy, learning outcomes, and assessments are interconnected. Thank you. You're right. Teaching through new ways much more fruitful than teaching through traditional way. Perfect. Group work. LO's pedagogy and assessment should be aligned. Planning of pedagogy is very important for effective teaching learning process. Children learn best using effective method. Alignment with topic and contents. Okay. How is weather today? Delhi is getting very hot. Okay. Learning should be aligned to effective pedagogy. Okay. Okay. Need to create inclusive environment. Absolutely. Fruitful as it engages student directly with the learning process, activities and discussions. Cool in Sikkim. Okay. I wish I was in Sikkim. Teaching becomes effective when it leads to meaningful learning and active participation of students. Questions should be connected to real life. Raining in Sikkim. Okay. Thank you so much. I have already met some of you in person, and I'm meeting you all online today. And it was a beautiful session. I really enjoyed your responses. I really enjoyed how organically you all are participating. I really enjoyed how actively you're giving responses, and at many a places I felt you already know it all, and you all are already doing an amazing work. Thank you. Over to you, Barsha.
Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you, Vikash. Ravinder, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for conducting today's session. Seemed very interesting and we have active participation. Thank you to all the teachers also for joining on time and being here throughout the session. We will see you again tomorrow. तपाईँहरूले सबैजनाले attendance mark गर्नु सक्नुहुन्छ till 2 p.m. You can mark your attendance in learning circle. I hope there is no problem in how to mark your attendance. If there is, please reach out to your concerned master trainers or you can also put it in the groups. Yeah. Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you, Vikash. If Rasmiji is here, thank you. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. तपाईँहरूले आफ्नो attendance mark गर्नु सक्नुहुन्छ on your learning circle and we will see you tomorrow. I'm ending the session now. Yes, you will get the recorded video. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.